Oh, hi. Welcome back to another KCC video. I'm Rob, and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today, we're jumping into some entitled parents. Our first story today comes to us from Tricky Little Fox. My mom is embarrassed of me because I'm fat. Let's jump right in. I'm 30 years, woman, and weigh 220 pounds. I have always been large compared to the rest of my family. My sisters and mom are perfectly skinny. Then you have me, who looks like a beach ball. I have always struggled with my weight. Always, even when I was little, despite being an active kid. Because of this, I faced a lot of bullying in school, to the point I would sometimes come home in tears, and my mom was no help. She would say things like, "Other kids would like you if you weren't so fat. Kids don't want to be friends with little fat girls. Maybe you don't have seconds at dinner and this wouldn't be a problem. You know, boys don't really date fat girls. Maybe I'll buy you a real swimsuit like your sisters if you lose a few pounds." She would make me wear a t-shirt and shorts. She'd make me feel terrible, which only made me eat more. My self-confidence was completely at zero growing up. Anytime I got up the courage to try something, she would bring my weight into it and I would just stop trying. Or asking to do things cause, "Oh honey, you need to be skinny to run track." If confronted, she would play it off as, "I'm just trying to help, OP." She even forced me all through middle school to wear a girdle so I would appear smaller. Her logic was, if you don't want to wear it, you'll lose the weight. The thing only broke me out in a horrible rash and I ate till it wouldn't fit anymore. She honestly believed the more she made me feel like dirt, I would stop eating or something. Even at events, she would embarrass me by saying things like, "I had to go to a special store to find a dress to fit OP. She looks cute though, but it's not designer." A couple months ago, I have started seeing a very good doctor and a nutritionist to help me lose weight. Everything is going great. I'm exercising 3 times a week and eating better. Well, last week was my parents' wedding anniversary and one of my sisters hosted a dinner party for them. It was just family and we are all fully vaccinated. Since starting my new routine, I have lost 10 pounds. I know it's not much, but I was proud of it and went out to buy myself a new dress for the party. My sister said I looked nice in my new dress. Everything was going fine till my mom got there. I was helping put out the food when my mom comes over, lifts up my dress, and slaps my stomach. She says, "Well, look at you trying to look all cute. You've got a man you're trying to impress. Now all you have to do is lose the Buddha belly and you'll be looking really sexy soon." I slapped her hand. In truth, I was fighting back tears because she just embarrassed me in front of everyone. I yelled that her doing that wasn't appropriate and she's the reason I have always struggled with my weight. She treats me like I'm some disease, gives me backhand complaints, and I want her to just leave me alone. I then took the cake I have made for her and my dad and left the party. My mom started calling and texting me, saying she was sorry, she was just trying to help, and it wasn't fair I took the cake. My dad even came over to my apartment, trying to get me to open the door so they could have the cake. I had made a pineapple side cake because I knew it was my parents' favorite. Well, as you can guess, I didn't open the door. Instead, I sat in my kitchen crying and ate half that freaking cake. My sisters called saying sure, what mom did was wrong, but I overreacted and the party was ruined when I left and they had to get a store-bought cake. My mom is threatening to never speak to me again unless I apologize for yelling at her when she was only trying to help, and she's my mom. I'm sick of this and I don't care if she never speaks to me again. She's a rude, entitled, selfish woman who'd rather see me unhappy than seeing me trying to improve myself. I hope she's okay with not having me and my fat butt around to embarrass her anymore. Now, OP did post a little bit of an update on this one because the response that OP got in the comments was really heartwarming, honestly. It says, "Wow, I have 200 notifications and like 20 chat requests. I can't reply to everyone, but thanks for the support. You didn't have to give me awards, but thank you. I just posted here because it has taken me all these years to see how entitled and toxic my mom is. Like your mom is supposed to love you and build you up, but I never got that. I never felt good growing up unless I was eating. Eating made me feel good because, well, food doesn't judge you, humiliate you, or make you cry. I thought as I got older and as my mom got older, things would change. Things would change and she would stop destroying every little self-esteem block I made for myself. She proved at the party that she will never change, and I got to see how her toxicity has infected my whole family. No one is ever going to stand up to her. I'm not going to give up. I have a goal for myself and I'll reach it. I should have put my family in my rearview mirror a long time ago and foolishly hoped they would change and get better. That won't happen. I've got to accept that. When pigs grow wings and fly, I'll apologize to them. Until then, I'm on my own in this. Thanks again for the wonderful support. Reddit is always the best community. Oh, I do make a good pineapple upside down cake. The secret is nutmeg. First of all, OP, there is nothing at all that you have to apologize for. You're not the problem. What people need to realize is that you don't choose your family, you're born into that family, and you have no choice whether your parents are a bunch of buttholes or not. The best thing you can do is put those toxic people in your rear view. OP, I wish nothing but the best for you going forward. Do me a quick favor, have a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're not actually subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. Our next story today comes to us from Tie You Up Guy. Entitled mother tries to force her son to take one of my epilepsy pills. Let's jump right in. I was doing an intake for a new kid at the daycare I work at. Short interview, long amount of paperwork, usual bureaucratic stuff. I was in a small back office where we do all our intakes. Nice kid is playing with toys in the corner. I'm talking to entitled mom about allergies or whatever. Nice kid sneaks up behind me and pulls a Ziploc bag out of my backpack. Now, I keep a backpack on me because I usually go right from class to work. In this backpack are baggies with extras of my epilepsy meds in case I forget to take them before I leave my apartment. Nice kid looks at me and asks very sweetly, "Can I have some of this candy?" My eyes go wide and I snatch the bag from him. I regain my composure and very calmly say, "No kiddo, this is medicine, not candy." Nice kid pretty immediately backs down. Entitled mother loses her ever-loving mind. Why can't he just have one? What? Now getting pretty nasty in tone, just let him have one. Ma'am, this is medicine, and I don't know what the side effects could be if he takes one, but doesn't have the condition it treats. Trying to talk under her breath, but not nearly being as quiet as she thinks she's being. Greedy effer. I got up from my desk and called my coworker into the room. "What's up? Can you finish this intake for me?" "Why?" Entitled mother butts in angrily. "He won't let my son have any candy," points to bag. Coworker and I have been friends for about 15 years. She knows that those are my meds. "That's not candy, ma'am. That's medicine." "You are both being very rude. I'm gonna complain to your manager." Coworker and I exchange looks. Her office is 2 doors up on the right. Go ahead. Entitled mother storms off, dragging nice kid. Nice kid is even complaining that entitled mother is dragging him too fast and it hurts. Entitled mother barges into boss's office. I don't catch the whole convo through the door, but I do catch this. Ever pull that crap with one of my employees again, CPS will hear about it. Entitled mother and nice kid leave about 10 minutes after. Entitled mother bright red and embarrassed looking. What gets me is that her kid backed down almost immediately. That's the funniest part of this to me. Can you imagine that CPS visit? "Ma'am, we have a report that you tried to," checks their notes, "make a daycare worker give your kid epilepsy medication? Never mind, no home visit needed, your kid's coming with me, bye." Our next story today comes to us from Thrown into Deep Water. I am your mother. Now, this one is a month old, but it does have a current update, so that's why we're popping it into this video. Let's jump right in. At the beginning of lockdowns here in Germany, my mother came to me saying I should let her live with me in my house because, wait for it, I am your mother. Well, I let her move into the granny apartment. It has a separate entrance and has 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, kitchen and dining room, and living room. While she slept in the bedroom in the apartment, she used the main kitchen to cook her meals, but refused to cook shared meals, used the main living room to watch TV, basically acted as if she owned the house. Any of my complaints, she likewise dismissed. I am your mother. It all came to a head when I was working on a computer in the living room. There was a lull while the system setup was doing its thing, so I went to the kitchen to brew tea and have a snack. During this time, my mother went into living room to watch TV, but I had been listening to Vivaldi's 4 Seasons, so she started pulling power plugs in an attempt to shut off the music. One of the first plugs she pulled was, of course, the computer I'd been working on. When I came back from the kitchen, she rejected any fault for it. According to her, it was clearly my fault because she had to shut off the music to watch TV. So why would she feel free to shut off my music in my house? Not to mention that I had to start over the system setup? Well, because I am your mother, I countered, and my mother is a guest in my house, so until you behave like a guest, you better go to your apartment. She didn't like being treated like that one bit. Well, she went to her apartment, then left. I went to a hardware store and bought new locks. Until then, the key for the main door also worked for the apartment door and vice versa. The inside door connecting the apartment and the main house didn't have a lock at all, so yes, I locked her out of the main part of the house. And then the phone call started. First, my brother, to whom I suggested he take her in. The house he lives in alone is even larger than mine. Then my older sister, who has 2 spare rooms in her and her husband's condo since her children moved out long ago, and who didn't like the suggestion she should take our mother in either. My sister's daughter was somewhat surprised when I explained to her that the house belongs to me and not to her grandmother. Her brother only called to get my confirmation about that. My brother's son was actually on my side, but warned me about my mother planning something. So a few days later, while running errands, I get a call from the hardware store from which I bought the new locks. They told me that the police had called them to send someone to open the house. What had my mother done? She called the police for help because her son had locked her out of the house. When the officers at my house confronted me with that, I simply told them to try her key at the door on the side. Obviously, they hadn't done that before. Then they wanted proof that it was actually I who owned the house. Oddly enough, the copies of the deed I had at home were nowhere to be found. So I called my attorney and he sent one of his partners with new copies. He also brought eviction papers telling me to consider it. I simply asked for a pen. A couple days later, my mother moved in with my brother. Brother, older sister, and her husband helped me with her stuff. Brother made a last effort to make me change my mind. My sister merely treated me with contempt. Brother-in-law told me quietly he vetoed our mother moving in with them before my sister even made the suggestion. But this still isn't the end of it. The police officers are pressing charges for falsely reporting a crime, me locking her out. Everyone and his little brother has called me to take back the charges. I hadn't pressed them in the first place. It's out of my hands. To tell the police that it's all just a misunderstanding, or at least put in a good word for her. Why? Of course, because she is your mother. Now, before we get into the update, OP did put an edit on this one. It says, I'm a 45-year-old guy, the youngest of 4 siblings, 47 female, 54 female, 60 male, never married, but I did have some long-running relationships. My mother, 78, lived in my house for about a year. I'm not sure exactly when she moved in, but it was after my birthday, which is in April. The incident happened on the 19th of May, so almost 3 weeks ago. From what I hear, she's occupying my nephew's old bedroom. I haven't heard any complaints from my brother so far, but then I haven't heard anything from him and my older sister since they came to get our mother's stuff. The copies of the deed that went missing are public records. Anyone can go to City Hall, pay the fee, and get copies themselves. Anything she might try, the procedures she'd have to follow, keep that in mind. Also, my attorney is making sure nothing untoward happens to me and my property. For the criminal charges, she'll probably get nothing more than a fine in the €500 range. Should she reject to pay the fine, it'll go to court. Even then, it is not likely that she'll go to prison, but it'll be much more costly for her. Now, OP updated this story 1 day ago. It says, update to I am your mother. Let's jump right in. Excuse me for dragging my feet with this update, but here it finally is. My mother has disowned and disinherited me. I really do not care about the practical effects of that, but it still hurts. My brother called me last week to tell me that our mother wants me to pay her fine and to tell all interested parties that I did. My response to that, then it will be for a court to decide who is at fault. Therefore, before it will come to that, my brother will pay in her name just to get the legal side of it out of the world. In the meantime, nephew had a falling out with my brother. The story behind it isn't mine to tell, but I think I can say here, nephew taking my side in this didn't do him any favors in that. On a more happy note, he is going to buy my neighbor's house. My former sister-in-law and her parents are going to contribute to the down payment. They came by last weekend to have a look for themselves before they were going to commit. If things go as planned, he can move in this autumn. About the mess, they said that if my family wants to kick me out, they are more than happy to adopt me into their family after what I did for their only grandson. I could add some more tidbits, and maybe I will in the comments, but this is the important parts all wrapped up, or so I hope. Yep, another question of write that part of the family off, and it looks like you have another part of the family that's willing to take you in, and that sounds good to me. Our last story today comes to us from Wu Fang Clan. Entitled Mom Has People Ready to Kick Her Out of Her Daughter's Wedding. Let's jump right in. So this experience isn't about me, it's about my friend and the awful person she unfortunately has to call mother. We'll call my friend Red for her red hair, and her mother Cruella. I'm sure you get the reference. A bit of history. Red and I became best friends in high school and still hang out with each other on a regular basis. Since first spending time with her, I learned how awful her home life was. She didn't have any father figure, and Cruella was awful to her. She never wanted anything to do with Red, even on her birthday, or Christmas, or any holiday. Red had 3 older brothers Cruella also didn't care about, and they moved out of the home pretty quickly. Red had to provide food, clothes, and any other basic necessity herself, as Cruella practically told her to take care of herself. Luckily, Red moved out as soon as she was of age and moved in with her boyfriend. We'll call him Beard. She was finally able to have nice things and have someone care about her. Almost as soon as Cruella learned Red was having a better life, Cruella began calling and messaging Red. Suddenly, Cruella wanted to be part of her life. Go shopping with her, go out for coffee, spend holidays with her. Cruella wanted to go over to Red and Beard's place and visit frequently. Red basically told her to shove it, and that wasn't happening. And I don't blame her. Your mother ignores you for a major part of your life, and as soon as you move out and start to better your situation, she suddenly wants to be a part of your life? F that. And of course, Cruella starts playing the victim, wondering why her daughter hates her and treats her this way, that she just wants to be a good mom and spend some time with her. Red showed me the text messages Cruella sent her. The audacity. Fast forward a few years, and Red and Beard get engaged. Me, my younger sister, and another close friend were chosen to be the bridesmaids, with me being the maid of honor. We were all ecstatic and so happy for her. Cruella was not. Cruella did not want Red to get married, especially without her blessing. Once again, Red laughed and did what she wanted, as that was what she had learned to do. Cruella did absolutely nothing to help with the wedding. The church was picked out and recommended by Beard's parents. I went with her to go pick out a dress, shoes, veil, and my parents paid for the wedding dress as a gift to her. The flower arrangements were picked out by Red, their wedding cake was made by Walmart, etc. I and other friends helped as much as possible with all the wedding planning. Getting closer to the wedding, Red debated on not even letting Cruella come to the wedding. A majority of friends told her not to let Cruella come, as we feared she would try to ruin the wedding or cause some sort of scene. Red did cave and invited Cruella, as she was her mother after all, but Cruella was not allowed to bring her boyfriend, some dirty, shady guy who was probably the 30th man Cruella had been with. Cruella wanted to be the one to walk Red down the aisle. As Red's father wasn't in the picture, Red flat out said no, and that she would either have my father, since my family always supported Red and tried to help her out since we became friends, or Red's older brother walk her down the aisle. In the end, Red picked out her brother, though my father was willing to do so if he was asked, and a plan was hatched for the wedding. If Cruella began to make a scene, object to the marriage, or saying anything to upset Red or Beard, she would be forcibly removed from the church. My father, who is a large 6'2" man, Red's older brothers, or even me myself, would drag Cruella out the moment Red had enough of her. And Cruella was told that that would exactly happen if she didn't behave. Of course, she was offended, but nobody cared. The day of the wedding arrives, and everybody is trying their best to make it the perfect day for Red and Beard. The bridal party arrive at the church, and I'm surveying the venue to make sure everything is in place. I then spot Cruella. She's wearing a white dress and going around telling people she got engaged to her shady boyfriend. I'm not happy, and I slip into the back to tell Red and Beard what's going on. They're both annoyed, but let it slide so there's no conflict. The wedding goes off without a hitch. When vows are exchanged and the priest asks if anybody objects, pretty much all eyes are on Cruella. I'm staring her down, ready to take action if one noise comes out of her. Wisely, Cruella chooses to stay quiet and the wedding continues. At the reception, things are going well, and I'm following Red around to make sure her dress is clean, makeup is okay, guests are behaving, etc. At some point during the congratulations, Cruella goes to talk to Red. I'm not quite close enough to hear the conversation, but I'm keeping an eye on them. Red seems irritated after Cruella leaves, and I ask Red if she's okay and wants Cruella removed. Red tells me it's fine, and that Cruella was just telling Red how the wedding could have been if Cruella had control of the wedding plans. I can't believe it. Not once during the whole year of planning did we hear a word of Cruella offering to help pay or set anything up. I once again ask if Red would like me to kick Cruella out, but Red assures me she can put up with it for a couple hours longer. The rest of the wedding goes fine, and to this day Red talks about how it was probably the best day of her life. Though after the wedding, Cruella throws a fit. What she's angry about this time is that she was barely in any wedding photos. So you know, my father was the one taking all the photos, as Red and Beard couldn't afford a professional photographer, and my father's hobby is photography, and he's great at taking and editing photos. So at a wedding, you figure that most of the pictures taken will be of the bride and groom. There are the usual few photos of the bridesmaids and bride, groomsmen and groom, the vows, the reception, etc. But mainly the bride and the groom together. Cruella was upset there were only a couple of photos with her in them. Like, B, you're not supposed to be the star of the wedding, your daughter is. It's her day. Cruella is upset because everybody treated her badly at the wedding, and she was just trying to support her daughter and be part of her important day, yada yada yada. To this day, Red and Cruella are not close. Cruella keeps trying to invite her to spend time with her and plays victim when Red doesn't want to. Red does not like Cruella's company, but does try to visit during holidays, though Red usually leaves angry. Red and Beard moved into a house together, and they didn't even tell Cruella where they moved to, so she doesn't try to come by for surprise visits. Red and Beard have clearly planned that, once they decide to have kids, Cruella will not be allowed in the hospital during the birthing process, and can only see the baby when Red allows her to. I cannot imagine what it's like to have a mother like Cruella. I've encouraged Red to cut Cruella out of her life completely, but Red is nice enough to still occasionally see her, which is more than Cruella deserves. Cruella is a master of treating people badly and then playing the victim. Red and I find it very ironic that my family has treated Red like a daughter, despite our cultural differences. Cruella is openly racist, and I and my family are Hispanic and Chinese. It drove Cruella practically insane when she found out that Red and I were best friends. Red told me Cruella almost didn't go to the wedding because me and my family would be there, and that I and my sister were bridesmaids. My family jokingly calls Red our adopted white child, and she's always been welcome in our family. Well, 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 this is another case where you should definitely go no contact, just like all the other ones in this video. That seems to be a trend. Maybe we should rename the subreddit from Entitled Parents to Cut Off Parents. Check out all 4 OPs at the links in the description down below. Thanks for watching, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.